felt afraid or embarrassed to be different? I think it's a pretty common feeling. Even if you're very proud of who you are today, I'm guessing there was a time in your life when you felt self-conscious. Today I want to tell you about a time that I felt this way and how I overcame it in my life. If you've ever heard me speak or met me in person or been following my vlogs for a while, you've probably seen my tenodesis splint. And I'll post a couple of videos and a caption of this video that shows what this is and how I use it. Essentially, this simple device gives me a lot more independence and allows me to do things like feed myself and many others. But when I first got it, soon after my accident, I hated it. I was afraid to use it, especially in public, and it sat in my house for a year. I thought it was ugly. I thought that people would stare at me if they saw me using it. So instead, I had people feed me and do things for me. And at one point, a good friend just asked me, "Why don't you use this more?" Well, I told her that I didn't like how it looked and how I didn't want people to see me using it. And she said, "But don't you think wearing this would look so much better than me standing here feeding you? Don't you think you might draw more attention to yourself by having us feed you than if you just had your splint on?" Wow. At that moment, I realized that she was right. Wouldn't it be better for me to be independent and use my tenodesis splint than to rely on people to help, no matter what the device looked like? By not using my Teno, I was keeping myself from being my best. I was keeping myself from being independent. I was letting my pride get in the way, and I was afraid of what people would think of me. At that point in my life, I was dead set on never wearing something that would make me look weird or more disabled. But at the end of the day, I was only hurting myself. I realized that I needed to use devices like my Teno so that I could truly live a more independent life. So I practiced and practiced so that I could learn how to take my Teno on and off by myself. It took about 6 months, but I could finally do it. I had to have some grace for myself, especially using the Teno, and actually a lot of work, and it can physically exhaust me, especially at first. Not so much now. But the other thing I had to get over was how it looked. When my occupational therapist first showed it to me, I was so disdainful. I thought it looked industrial and mechanical and not cute or pretty. But now I look back and see how silly that was. Today, this device is like second nature to me, and I can't imagine not having it or using it. It is truly a blessing in my life. Now, another example is my electric wheelchair. I really wanted to be in a manual wheelchair right after my accident. And I did an independent study in school and earned my FIAD credits by working on being in a manual chair. I thought that having a manual wheelchair would make me look less disabled, and I even looked down on people who use power chairs. But I finally had to realize my own physical limitations. My arms are just not strong enough to use a manual chair all day. There is just no physical way for me to thrive and be as independent as I am. If I didn't have this power chair, today I don't know where I would be, because I love my chair. And I'm so thankful for everything it allows me to do. So are there any examples of this in your life? I see examples of this all the time. Some people are embarrassed to wear their glasses, so they go around unable to see well. A student might not want to get extra tutoring help for math because they don't want others to know that they're struggling. Some people have leg braces for their disability. There are so many things that can help individuals be more independent. Other people are ashamed of having to take medication for their mental health or don't want to admit that they need help for an addiction. So whether it's something that makes you look different, or if you're just afraid of people finding out that you need help in a certain area, we all have things in our lives like this. But by refusing help in the areas that we need it, we are hurting ourselves and holding ourselves back from using the tools that will actually make our lives better. I nearly sacrificed my independence by worrying about what people would think about my tenodesis splint and my power wheelchair. So please learn from my mistakes. Don't hold yourself back from living your best life by worrying about what makes you different. I promise that it will be so much better in the long run if you embrace your uniqueness and use the tools that are there to help you live a life full of purpose. Thanks for joining me.